Welcome everyone, back to the channel, Flat Tire Dan. Good to see everybody. I got a lot I want to go through today with you, so we're going to get right to it. In my last episode, I had mentioned to you guys that Flat Tire Dan had added another vehicle to its fleet, right? And that I had just picked it up, but that it wasn't quite ready to introduce to you guys, that I kind of wanted to spend some time with it and get familiar with it, maybe put some of my own personal touches to it before I showed it to you. And that, you know, in an upcoming episode, I would show you guys that vehicle, and that's going to be today's episode. We're going to reveal that to you today, and if you've read the title of this episode, you know exactly what it is we're talking about. But before I get into the specifics of that, I posted a couple pictures at the beginning of this episode of a truck that I used to have. Now, that truck in those pictures is a 2020 Ford F350 Lariat 6.7 liter turbo diesel dually. For those of you who don't know, a dually is 4 rear tires, right? Now that truck actually used to belong to a former employer of mine, but it was my work truck. Got it brand new in 2020. And that employer, we did a lot of like exterior renovations, like roofing and decks and a lot of heavy stuff. And so that job warranted that size of truck. And what was nice about it is that it was my own personal company truck, and I got to use it, you know, in my own personal life. So like I took it to Florida, I took it down to the Keys with the jet ski for a week or so. I'd been out back and forth to Lake Erie, you know, half a dozen times. I would use it to go, you know, run errands, whatever, you know. And so I really got the truck and got to use the truck and really enjoyed the truck. I mean, what's not to love, right? It was a beautiful truck. But I only got to keep it for a little over a year. Kind of unexpectedly, my former employer decided to retire, and the truck belonged to the business, right? So he offered to sell it to me at a fair price, but like almost immediately I had lined up my new job, the job I still have today, and that job warrants a truck like I have now, the 2022 F-150 you've seen on the channel. It didn't warrant a big dually diesel, right? And you know, the price range on that truck was still like miles outside of my budget. So unfortunately I had to part ways with that truck, and I can tell you from the second I got out of it, I missed it, right? You know, I mean, again, what's not to miss? It was a beautiful truck. And so I kind of told myself that hopefully someday, you know, I'll be in a position where I can get something at least similar, you know? And so fast forward 2 years, right? And like I said, it was a couple months ago, I started really seriously thinking about, you know, maybe now's the time, you know, and so I figured, okay, well, what exactly am I looking for? What is my budget, and how am I going to find it? So what I found was a 2006 Ford F350 XLT 6-liter turbo diesel dually. All right, not the easiest vehicle to find, especially with the budget that I had. How did I find it? Well, I used technology. I downloaded a couple of car search apps, Car Gurus, Cars.com, Auto Trader, and within those apps you can create a search parameter, right, of what exactly you're looking for, and you know, radius of how far you're willing to travel to look for it, and then obviously like the budget you have to spend, and it'll do the work for you, right? Now, immediately it came up with some results of some vehicles that interested me, but they were all just a little more used, I guess, than I wanted. Like multiple owners, very high mileage, kind of ridden hard, right? But I kind of expected that because my budget was what it was, and they kind of fit my budget, right? And so it was a little, you know, distressing at first, but I was reminded by people around me, like, listen, you're in no big hurry, you know, be patient and something will eventually show up. So, you know, I searched and waited for probably 4 or 5 weeks. Now, these apps will also alert you if something new in your search parameter shows up, right? So it was probably 3 or 4 Friday nights ago. I'm hanging with some friends. It's about 9 o'clock at night, and I get an alert on my phone. And this truck showed up, right? And not only did this truck show up, but it showed up at a Ford dealership like 10 miles from my house. So I can remember being like, gotta go, right? And I actually drove over to the dealership. I knew they were closed, but I was hoping I could find the truck on the lot, which I did. And so I spent about a half hour kind of nosing around with my flashlight and decided that I was really interested in it. And so I called them the next day, made an appointment, and went over and saw it. You know, a little back and forth dealership type stuff, and ended up buying it that day and bringing it home that night. It was the truck I was looking for, and a little bit of patience, and it showed up, and those search apps really work well. So other than what it is, what is it about? Well, it's a one owner vehicle, which I like. The gentleman who owned it before me bought it at the dealership that I found it at, had it serviced there every 5,000 miles, and then traded it in there. Actually, the story I got is he had brought it in for service on the Thursday before the Saturday that I bought it. And while he was waiting for his truck to get serviced, he saw another truck on the lot that he wanted, and he decided to trade his truck in. 133,000 miles, which seems like a lot and sounds like a lot, and for a lot of cars it is. But in the diesel truck world, especially a truck like this heavy duty, if it's been well maintained, and I received, I think, 6 pages of service records from their service team when I bought the truck, which, so this one has been well maintained. It's not a ridiculous amount of miles. Actually, kind of low mileage for what my budget was. So it was the truck I wanted, and it fit kind of what I was looking for. And like I said, I just had to be patient and wait for it. A couple neat things about it. So the first thing is, when I brought it home, I started digging around, the inside, and I found the original owner's manual in the original owner's manual billfold jacket, right? And which is kind of rare. And I opened that up and I started digging around in there, and I found the original window sticker for the truck, right? And so it tells me, this guy ordered the truck for himself. He didn't buy it off a lot. He ordered it and Ford produced it for him. Now, it kind of showed me, all the standard stuff, which I kind of already knew, but the options that he had purchased with it. And he didn't really spend a lot of money on creature comfort stuff, although the interior is beautiful and you'll see that. But where he spent his money was truck stuff, right? He got the trailer package, he got the camper package, which I didn't even know was a thing. He got the snowplow package, although I don't see any evidence of a snowplow ever being attached to this truck. Dual alternators, all kinds of truck stuff he upgraded, bed liner, all kinds of stuff like that. And that's kind of if I were have ordered the truck myself, that's kind of the direction I would have went. So that was super cool, right? And they gave me the Carfax for the truck. When I bought the truck, they gave me the Carfax, right, which shows it hasn't been in any accidents and all that kind of stuff. Shows me that it's one owner. And I didn't really even notice it till a couple days ago when I was going through it again. But this truck here was produced by Ford and delivered to the dealership to be delivered to this owner on my birthday in 2005. So I don't know what that means. I think it's pretty cool. Maybe it's fate, whatever. But it was delivered to the dealership where I ended up buying it from on my birthday in 2005. So kind of neat. Yeah. I guess a couple things. What am I going to use it for, right? Well, maybe we'll talk about that after you take a look at the truck. And then for those of you who are new and you found us because of the title of this episode and you're diesel truck guys, and even if you're a regular viewer and you're diesel truck guys or girls or whatever, I'm well aware of the challenges that this 6-liter turbo diesel line presents, as far as impending issues if you don't address them ahead of time, and what they cost and all that kind of stuff. And I do want to talk to them about them a little bit more in depth. But again, I think maybe we'll look at the truck first, and then I'll circle back to that stuff. So let's go take a look at it. Okay, so we'll start in the bed of the truck. Factory installed bed liner. I have the receipt for that as well. And I guess that's a good point. So one thing I didn't touch on yet is when I got this truck, I spent a couple days just kind of going through everything, right? And as far as I can tell, this truck didn't have anything in it or on it that it didn't come from Ford with, which, again, I think is pretty rare. Everything I found in this truck is original from when they built it. So original bed liner. Now, I did install this Milwaukee pack out box. I have them on my X3, super durable, weatherproof. So these crew cab Fords have a tremendous amount of storage under the back seat. And since this isn't going to be my work truck, I didn't really think I'd need any type of toolbox or cargo box. But after I got the truck, I started looking under the back seat. I actually found something entirely different under there that I've never seen before. I think it's really cool, but doesn't allow for under-seat storage. And I'll show you that when I show you the inside of the truck. So anyway, it necessitated me to buy this pack out. I've got jumper cables and a tow rope and a fire extinguisher, a little toolbox, that kind of stuff in there. And then I installed my CB radio antenna and my CB in the front of the truck. I'll show you that. I know CBs are kind of obsolete and nobody really uses them anymore, but they're kind of nostalgic for me. My dad and I, he passed away about 10 years ago, we were into CB radios. And so I've tried to keep one in all of my trucks, but my F350 just didn't seem to have a clean spot for it. So I've been holding on to it, hopefully, to get the opportunity to install it in something different. So I installed it in this truck here. I'll put the tailgate up. Sorry, I'm doing all this one-handed. Back this out a little bit. All right. Class 5 hitch. This truck is rated to tow 15,000 pounds from the hitch, from the bumper. And then 21,000 pounds if I were to install a fifth wheel or gooseneck hitch, which I doubt I ever will, but good to know. Walk around the side of the truck. I did spend a few days under this truck, kind of cleaning and scraping and undercoating. You can kind of see a little of that here in the wheel wells. You know, I've got everything undercoated that I could reach underneath. With the ridiculously thorough service records I have, I saw that the previous owner had brakes installed on all 4 corners and 6 new Goodyear Wrangler radial tires installed on this truck just back in June of 2023, which kind of lends to the idea that I don't think he was really planning on trading this truck in anytime soon, because it's probably a $2,500 bill. And for me, like, I'm going to put 3,000-4,000 miles a year on this truck, maybe. So in theory, I don't think I'll ever have to do brakes or tires, which is nice. Thank you if you're watching. So we come around to the side. So here's a look at the interior, and I'll kind of show you after the seat's down. But this is what I'm talking about under the seat. So I went to look for under-seat storage, and I found this. Now, I've never seen this before, right? And I've owned plenty of Ford trucks. But what this is it's some type of fold-out cargo system, right? And it has it under that seat over there as well. And so I think it's really cool. I doubt I'll ever use it, but it doesn't lend to under-seat storage. And then, you know, seat folds back down. Now, I saw this truck for the first time on a Friday night. It hadn't been cleaned or detailed. I saw it again the next time on a Saturday morning. It hadn't been cleaned or detailed. They had 5 hours to clean and detail this truck, but I can tell you, this is the way the interior looked the first 2 times I saw it. So basically what I'm saying is this is the way the guy kept the inside of his truck. Immaculate inside, you know, in relation to how old the truck is and how many miles it has. And then these seats fold down, again, one-handed. I apologize. Grab this. All right, so seats fold down, right? And behind the seat, you've got everything spare tire, right? You've got the spare tire sort of lowering device and lug nut wrench, and then over there, you can see the original jack. Now, I did lower down the spare tire when I did the undercoating. And as far as I can tell, I'm the only person that's ever done that. And it was the first time any of these tools were used. So again, like, original. Yeah, door panels and everything super clean. It's got the factory side steps. All right. All right, so something common on these trucks at this age is the dash is sometimes cracked and faded. This one is not. Original 6-disc CD changer, and it works with all 6 discs. And trust me, it took me a while to find 6 CDs to try it out, but all that works. And, you know, all the gauges work. Now, they're dummy gauges, and more than likely I will update them, but all the gauges work. One flaw in the interior of this truck, I got a little towel covering it now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it. I'll probably have it repaired. Is that it does have a hole in the driver's seat, and you know, because it was driven 133,000 miles. But everything else is super clean. Don't think I'm going to go seat covers. I'll probably just get that fixed. Walk around the front. I got the hood open because I'm going to start it up for you. You can see, like, look, the under the hood light still works. Like, what are the odds of that, right? Motor is, like, not overwhelmingly clean, but overwhelmingly original. Also, in June of 2023, 2 new batteries, new serpentine belt, and then obviously all the recommended service he would have done. Like, he just basically told them to do whatever Ford said it needed to be done at that certain mileage. There's some patina on this truck that I think I'm going to actually leave alone. Like, you can see this plastic cover on the front bumper that's kind of faded randomly. I don't think I'm going to fix that. Like I mentioned in the previous episode, my buddy referred to this truck as vintage. And I like that. You know, I like this big giant grille with the Ford oval emblem. I think it's kind of cool. It's still got all the incandescent bulbs in it. Not sure if I'm going to upgrade them to LED or not. Again, I kind of like it the way that it is. It's a good shot of the truck. Like, it just looks cool, right? I mean, for me at least. Interior, passenger side, again, like, super clean. Right? There's my CB. All right, kind of fits well there. All right, a little microphone there, and I got the wires running through the back. But yeah, that's just like a nostalgia thing for me. But like, it doesn't have USB ports, like all the stuff that we get used to in our new cars. So I had to get some stuff like that for it. Original Ford floor mats, ordered with the truck brand new. Back seat, you know, this one does the same thing, folds up, folds down. You know, wheels, pretty good shape. Original chrome tip on the exhaust. Like the originality on this truck, you know, the fact that it's a survivor after all these years is really what I find most remarkable. Let's start it up. It certainly has that 6-liter diesel sound to it. So there you have it, right? I think we're pretty fortunate. I think we're pretty lucky to have found such sort of an original survivor in such good condition, one owner, you know, relatively low miles, and I have all the service records, like that kind of stuff. I just think we got pretty lucky, especially with what my budget was. Now, I've mentioned that a few times. I'm not just going to come out and tell you what I paid for the truck here on the channel. But if you are interested in what I ended up paying for it, just go ahead and message us on our Instagram account, flat_tire_Dan. If you don't follow us there, you should. And so if you don't follow us, follow me. I'll follow you back, and you go ahead and shoot me a message, and I'll let you know what I paid for it. So what are we going to use it for? Well, I guess the logical answer is, well, you're going to tow all your stuff, right? Well, I'm not going to tow my stuff with it, but to be honest with you, like everything I own, the camper, this thing, the jet ski, none of it even adds up to half, you know, of the towing capacity of my 2022 F-150 that has backup cameras and lane departure systems and blind spot alerts and all that stuff that makes towing that much easier because of technology. So if I'm being entirely honest, I'm pretty sure the F-150 is going to continue to do the heavy lifting around here. But what I am going to use it for is as a project. I've always, you know, those of you who know me, I've always had sort of a hot rod or something I've always been tinkering with, and this is just the next one, right? I kind of like restoring things to original, and so this has got a pretty good head start on that, and so I'm going to restore it. I'm gonna make it a project, and now I have a YouTube channel that I can share that stuff with you. So if you're visiting us for the first time because you found diesel content, right, that didn't used to be on this channel, first look around at some of the other stuff we're doing. I think you think we're into some pretty cool stuff, but continue to follow us, because I am gonna, you know, chronologically track the restoration of this truck on this channel. So that's kind of what my intentions are, and I'm gonna take it out on Saturdays for ice cream, and I'm gonna drive it around because it's just what I enjoy. So that's probably, for the most part, at least now, what the truck's going to be used for. All right, so I touched on this before. For those of you who know, the 6-liter turbo diesel from Ford from like 2002 to 2006 does have a history of potential problems if it's not, you know, dealt with proactively, I guess is a good word to put it. All sort of surrounds the emission control systems that came into with this motor, and I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds with that right now, but I certainly will be addressing it going forward. And now, normally they're prominent with high mileage trucks, which this truck really isn't, and trucks that haven't been well maintained, or you're not really sure of how well they've been maintained. And fortunately for us, we've got every service record this truck ever had. So, and it has been well maintained. So I think I've got a little breathing room before I get into that stuff, but I certainly know that it's going to need to be addressed. And so I'm meeting with a diesel guy. He came recommended to me through some people I trust, who's real familiar with these trucks, over the next week or so. And we're going to kind of take a look at it and kind of come up with a priority list on what he thinks I should work on first as far as getting proactive with these problems that are well known with the 6-liter diesels. But I kind of knew it going in, you know, with the budget I had, that's what I was going to end up with. And I do have a plan for it, and I am going to, you know, bring it to the channel as well. So as we make those upgrades, I'm certainly going to share it with all you guys out there. So if you're new here, welcome, and we have a plan. I think that's it. We're really excited about this new project. Coming up, I actually got some accessories for the X3. Now, I know I've been talking that we're going to get out riding again. We're going to get out riding again. The thing is two of the guys that I ride with, two of the main guys that I ride with, one of them's coming off of surgery, should be cleared in a couple weeks, and the other one's just finishing a big addition on his house and should be finished in a couple weeks. So we're going to be getting out. But I did buy some stuff for this thing, some stuff that maybe you wouldn't think that people would accessorize with, more functional stuff than maybe flashy stuff. And I'm probably going to do an install video on this thing next of that stuff that I got. It's actually in that box right there. I don't know if you can see it. And so I'll probably do that next. And then we're going to go out and we're going to go riding. So that's coming up. As always, like, thanks everyone who's been watching. Like, subscriptions continue to go up and viewership continues to go up, and more and more I'm grateful for everybody who's been tuning in. It really does make all this stuff that much more fun. So thank you so much. If you're new here, thank you. And again, like, take a look around. I think we're into some cool stuff. Remember, stay tuned for more content from Flat Tire Dan. We'll see you.